soccer's starting back up
Oh,
again.
no. We're not doing this again. I
What?
saw the last
But that was all in good fun. So
3 hours late, whatever the heck that thing you use. No, I'm not getting sucked into this one. You know what, Simon, as a matter of fact,
God.
I'm going to tell
Tell me when
you
you're
that I
done.
think it's very unprofessional that you do this. And you know what? And that's why I think.
One eternity later.
Look, the reality is, Simon, I just don't need you to make me look bad. Okay, I work really hard on my thoughts, and I really want to make sure that people are respecting them. I've got some knowledge with hockey, and you screwed that up, and now I gave you all that information about Premier League, and I'm worried you're not going to use it. That's all.
Are we out of the system?
Okay.
As a young man, heard the sky's the limit. First thing first, I'ma break through the ceiling. One life jam, but it feels infinite. One life damn, then I better go get it. Start out the bed in my suede.
This podcast is being brought to you by the Reyes Group at IA Private Wealth. That is made up of myself, John Reyes, a wealth advisor, and Jillian Seguin, an associate wealth advisor. All right, so I guess this is a bearable conversation with
John and Jill,
and
Reyes Group at IA Private Wealth.
that's right. And I'm a wealth advisor.
I'm an associate wealth advisor.
I think we're getting better at this introduction thing, Jill. What do you think?
It's so natural.
It's getting there. Okay, so we're going to be doing part 2 of the advisor versus the do-it-yourself. And in our first part of this, I got pretty passionate about what it is that I view about the importance of advisors. And I did take a couple of slights and some shots at the do-it-yourself side. And I wanted to just end that, and then really just to be balanced and appropriate, Jill is going to take the other side of the argument in terms of where do-it-yourself might be applicable. And so let me just wrap up again my last point, which is my personal beliefs. There's no studies that I'm going to quote here, but I will say that we are now in a society that is conditioned on education, which it should be. I'm not disagreeing with that. But we have to balance what I would deem to be education with what we call real life experiences. And that is where I think we have a bit of a challenge. If we've got an individual that goes through school for 12 years, and then let's assume that they don't take a break, that they in fact are going to go right into university. So now they're going to do 4 years. And they've decided they want to go into finance. And so a lot of requirements now are, what we call our CFA, or Certified Financial, financial analyst.
Yes.
And then the other one, which is more equivalent to what we do in our industry, which is our CIM. And Jill has her CIM, our Certified
Chartered
Chartered-
Investment Manager.
Chartered Investment Manager. And the other one is a Chartered Financial Analyst. Sorry. See, I don't know the credentials as well as I should. But now imagine that person's gone 12 years of schooling, traditional schooling. Now they've gone to university for 4 years. Now they're taking 18 months to complete that. And then they're expected to jump into a role and manage money. Now their credentials are top-notch, top drawer, and probably coming from some of the best reputable institutions in Canada. But their life experience is at 0. Or their financial experience is at 0 when it comes to the management of emotions. And so for me, that becomes more difficult because if you think about it, at the end of the day, most people, I would say, want to have a relatability with the people that are managing their money, and it can't all be done through equations. So I just wanted to wrap it up that is a bit of a concern for me too, and I think that anybody that's going through this process has to be able to equally weight the importance of, the schooling, which is key and critical, but being able to relate it to the
Life
realities
experience.
and life
It's
experiences.
a life experience you're touching on.
Yeah, so I want to use that a bit of a segue. I'll close it off. I'm done. I'm ranting. I'm going to drop the mic. Jill can pick it up now and talk about the do-it-yourself and take the other side of the argument so we can be balanced.
I think what John was really touching on in the first podcast of this part, or this
Part one of the
part one of the do-it-yourself, was, I think, in a nutshell, expressing that we are not stock pickers. And very often when you are in your do-it-yourself money management and just pricing out the individual trades, doing the, cost efficiency of trading, you are literally being a stock picker.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what we're trying to express. If you look at the Canadian Securities Institute textbooks that we all have to go through, it really touches on the evolution of our roles as financial or in the financial world. So way back when my grandfather was doing it, he was a stockbroker. That was his title or name. And then it kind of evolved into investment advisor. And then now most of us are called wealth managers.
Right.
And so I think by changing the name, what they're trying to indicate is that we are no longer picking investments and that's all we do.
Right.
Which is, again, what you're doing on the do-it-yourself, most likely. We are finding a more comprehensive plan or strategy for clients, and the investments come secondary.
Yeah.
That's not to discount the fact that we don't have, I do, a really good background and we aren't astute enough to pick good investments, because performance is maybe 20% of it for clients, but 80% of it is the customer service,
The process.
and the ability to cater or customize a plan to suit an individual's needs, minimize taxes, and make sure their kids can go to school fine and they can retire when they want to.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what you're talking about. The do-it-yourselfers, I think there is absolutely room for that. As long as you know that your family is taken care of,
Yeah.
then if you want to start to kind of
Interest, right?
learn about the markets and learn about particular investments, and there's absolutely room for a sleeve of that in your management strategy, but I think that that is key. It's a sleeve, not your overall strategy.
So why do you think then that we're facing that type of pressure to? Is it more a cultural thing, do you think? Because this DIY is what my it's coming up. Like, a lot of people just want to be able to do things, and I think everything is being kind of equated back to cost, and
100%.
and that's where I think, I don't want to get back into it, but it's just, for me, it should not be about cost. It should be driven by interest. If you want to do it yourself, then it should be interest, right? There's, a whole section at Home Depot where they encourage people to come in on a Saturday and they'll teach you how to build things. Like, again, we're not against that. It goes back to that cup of coffee analogy that you've heard me use with these podcasts, right? There's a cup of coffee for everyone. What I'm more interested in is, we're in our 40-somethings. This is the big element just behind us about...
I'm 30s.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
30, 14.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess I find it increasingly difficult to talk to that group because they're not seeing value in the wealth management process. So why? Why would a do-it-yourself want to do it? And we want to encourage, balancing the argument. I'm finding it
Yes.
hard, but
Yep.
give me that. Tell me why to do it yourself, where there's room for it.
Oh, I thought I did.
No, I know. You gave us the example about
Wanting to learn.
if you're already established and you feel like it's a sleeve and you want to learn.
Yes.
Is there any other area where you believe that it fits? And if it isn't, that's okay, Jill. I'm not trying to get you to find reasons to.
Well, again, I think that if your family is taken care of, if you know,
Then everything kind of falls up from there, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
like
okay.
if you're wealthy enough to be in a position where it's like, you're going to make your financial goals, whatever they are.
See, but the thing is, we manage money for very wealthy people, and they still are heavily dependent.
Well, you have
on
to have,
our
you also
advice.
have to have the time to devote to it.
Yeah,
I think
okay,
that's
there
also
it is.
important. You can have interest, but you have to be on top of it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be working at your day job, and then
Well, maybe you can.
Yeah.
But then you're just kind of buy and hold and every
Yeah.
once in a while. But
maybe that's it. There's the argument. So it's, if you have a set expectation or a set view on how you think things should be going, maybe that is where the do-it-yourself works, right? Again, I'm trying to find it. As you can see, we're really trying to find the reason to balance here. We're not wanting us to tilt it. That's the biggest pet peeve that I have, and I know Joe shares, is that when we try to tilt the table to one side, we really are trying to find the reason. So maybe if you're one of those individuals that has a very specific targeted view of how you see the world, then that might be the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as an example, there's
You
lots of funds for that.
You talked about cost, and it reminded me of, the economics term opportunity cost. So when you referred to cost, you were talking about dollars and cents. What does it cost per trade for me to do my own investing? I think opportunity cost is the cost that we need to focus on.
Okay.
Which is, what am I forgoing if I choose to do this myself? And though I may have to pay, or I may pay a little less here, am I forgoing the opportunity to have a more diversified portfolio? Am I forgoing the opportunity of having a financial plan?
Yeah.
Am I forgoing the opportunity of retirement planning, estate planning, and so on, right?
Yep.
And so while the $9.99 or $12.99 trade now might appeal to you, it might be at the cost of something else.
Yeah.
Whereas working with an advisor, I believe, and I'm partial because it's what I do, that the opportunity cost of working with an advisor may really be the fees, right? The fees. And so then you're looking, okay, well, what are they worth? Or are they worth it versus in the long run versus the short-term discounted trades I'm doing now? And maybe the fees are worth it.
Yeah.
And I think opportunity cost too is time.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
And we purposely let the dog wander because we didn't want to have any of this to be very relevant to anybody, and we wanted to make sure that everybody just tilts it towards advice.
No, Duke is illustrating the do-it-yourself model. He's just
kind of everywhere. Thank you very much for joining us. This is probably one of our shorter podcasts, but we wanted to make sure that we provided a competing or a balanced approach to our first thought. We all know where we stand. It is our living, as Jill had said, but we wanted to make sure that we did as much of a balancing as we could, and I hope that's received well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Say bye, Duke.
Say bye, buddy.
As a young man, heard the sky's the limit. First thing first, I'ma break through the ceiling. One life jam, but it feels infinite.
This information has been prepared by John Reyes, Wealth Advisor, and Jillian Seguin, Associate Wealth Advisor for IA Private Wealth Incorporated, and does not necessarily reflect the opinion of IA Private Wealth. The information contained in this video comes from sources we believe reliable, but we cannot guarantee its accuracy or reliability. The opinions expressed are based on an analysis and interpretation dating from the date of publication and are subject to change without notice. Furthermore, they do not constitute an offer or solicitation to buy or sell any of the securities mentioned. The information contained herein may not apply to all types of investors. The wealth advisors can open accounts only in the provinces in which they are registered. IA Private Wealth Incorporated is a member of the Canadian Investor Protection Fund and the Canadian Investment Regulatory Organization. IA Private Wealth is a trademark and business name under which IA Private Wealth Incorporated operates.